Hello, I'm Steve Weber, the host of Essential Book Drop. We're featuring our top 3 new releases that you can see and download at essentialbookdrop.com. Happy Friday, everyone. It's October 17th, 2025. With me, as always, is my co-host and my bookworm sidekick, Cassandra. Good morning, Cass.
Good morning. It really is a great day for music fans, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've got 3 really significant new books today.
Yeah, diving into Dolly Parton, Crowe, and Pink Floyd. It feels like we're getting this, fresh clarity on their legacies.
Right. And these sources, they really are shortcuts to understanding some complex stuff, stardom, storytelling, access.
Yeah, exactly, and how those things connect.
That's the mission today, yeah.
Yeah.
Unlocking those essential knowledge nuggets. We're looking at how these figures, the performer, the journalist, the band, how they chose to tell their stories.
And maybe why they chose to tell them now and why they matter.
Okay, let's get into it. Where do we start?
Let's start with the Queen of Country herself.
All right. First up, star of the show, My Life on Stage by Dolly Parton. Genre is biographies of composers and musicians. Now, Dolly's put out a lot of books. What makes this one essential right now?
Well, what's really interesting here is that it's the final piece of her recent trilogy. So it gives you this complete picture,
A trilogy.
Right.
There was Songteller about lyrics.
Exactly. Focusing on her songwriting genius.
Yeah.
And then behind the scenes, which was all about her fashion, the visual branding, which is iconic.
Okay.
So start of the show pulls it all together by focusing squarely on her as a performer that moment she hits the stage.
And the scale seems huge. You mentioned over 500 photographs?
Yeah, 500 plus.
Yeah.
Lots of exclusive, never-seen-before images, stories, right from her personal archive. It's like a visual map of her entire stage career.
So it's more than just performance photos. What do these images tell us about, say, her business side, not just the singing?
That's a great point, because the visual evidence here, it tracks the evolution of Dolly Parton Incorporated, basically. Yeah. From artist to, entertainment CEO.
Yeah.
The book highlights these key moments, especially those early years with Porter Wagoner. We tend to maybe romanticize that time.
A little bit, yeah.
But the book really emphasizes that those were tough lessons, learned on the road, learned on TV, about control, about image.
So how does the book actually show that friction?
Well, through the photos and the stories paired with them, you see her constantly negotiating her independence, her identity. These aren't just snapshots. They chart a young woman figuring out how to project, star power while simultaneously fighting for creative control.
Right.
Her stage choices, the costumes, even her banter, it all visually represents her shift from being maybe a side act to this major cultural force who was absolutely determined to own her work.
It really is an amazing study in staying relevant, isn't it? You see her go solo, conquer fairs, world tours, then 9 to 5. That movie was huge.
Huge, and changed things for working women on screen.
And the book connects that long history right up to, her recent stuff.
Oh, definitely. It points out her performance at the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving halftime show in 2023.
I remember that.
42 million people watched that.
Wow. 42 million.
That single detail just proves how enduring her brand is. I mean, in today's fragmented world, who else commands that kind of massive cross-generational audience for a show mixing country and pop?
42 million people watching a 77-year-old performer in 2023. That's not just a career, it's an institution she built.
Exactly. And this book shows how the stage, for her, was kind of the ultimate boardroom. It's essential if you want to understand how to build and maintain a legacy today.
Yeah.
All driven by her own direction, her mastery of performance.
Okay, so we've seen an artist masterfully controlling her own story. Now let's shift to someone who kind of defined access in rock journalism by letting the legends tell their stories.
Crowe.
That's right. The next book, The Uncool, a memoir by Crowe. This one's under Biographies of Journalists.
And long awaited is definitely the phrase you hear everywhere for this one. It's the real story behind Almost Famous.
Right. That's the hook. What tells you this memoir actually lives up to all that hype? Decades of it.
Well, there's some incredible praise right off the bat. Stevie Nicks commented, a book that feels like music.
High praise indeed. But if it feels like music, does it lose some journalistic edge? Is it all poetry or?
That's the tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between being an insider, that intimacy, and trying to be objective. And that tension is exactly what made Crowe's work so revolutionary back then. I mean, look at his backstory. It's completely wild. Born in 1957, parents banned rock music.
He seriously
banned it.
Yeah, strictly banned it. And yet he becomes this ultimate rock insider. graduated high school at 15,
15.
and was already writing for Rolling Stone. He was this total outsider who somehow landed right in the middle of everything.
That rapid immersion must explain why the artists trusted him, right?
Right.
He wasn't cynical yet. He was just enthusiastic.
Absolutely. In the 70s rock scene, it was just different, more open. The uncool is like a dispatch from that lost world before the big PR machines took over.
Right. There was this window for genuine connection. And the details are staggering. Like the fact he got class credit for covering Led Zeppelin's 1975 tour.
Wait, class credit for touring with Zeppelin.
Yep. Imagine telling your professor you need an extension because you're on the road with Zepp. And they say, okay.
That's unbelievable. It says so much about rock's place in culture then.
And about the trust he built, which is almost impossible now. He was the kid, as the book details, who politely skipped the partying and just turned on his tape recorder.
Smart kid.
Which got him this incredible intimate access. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Bob Dylan, Fleetwood Mac, CSNY, the list goes on.
But the really mind-blowing access, the section everyone will talk about, is his time with David Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
Getting full access during Bowie's most, I guess, secretive transformation, the Thin White Duke period.
You have to remember what that Duke persona was. Mid-70s, Bowie reinventing himself completely, darker, more austere, kind of fragile, even controversial. He was practically hidden away.
And he lets a teenage journalist just hang out.
In bed with him, yeah. Which raises the obvious question, why him? Why Crowe?
Right, what was the reason?
And Crowe gives Bowie's answer directly in the book. Bowie told him, because you're young enough to be honest.
Wow. Young enough to be honest.
Yeah, and that philosophy, it led to these incredibly intimate portraits. Not sensationalist, just true. This book is absolutely essential if you're interested in that golden age of music journalism, how access used to be about connection, not just transactions.
Okay, so from individual legends via Crowe, we go to, well, a collective legend, a band famous for being guarded and complex.
Pink Floyd.
Our final book, Pink Floyd Shine On, the definitive oral history by Mark Blake, popular music genre.
Yeah, and Pink Floyd's story is often tangled in mythology, isn't it? So much internal drama defining their sound.
So, with this history, how reliable is the author, Mark Blake?
Extremely. Blake's been associated with the band, collaborated with them for over 30 years. This isn't just some fan history. It's built from tons of interviews with Gilmour, Waters, Mason, Wright.
The main players.
The main players, place friends, colleagues, other musicians. It's grounded in decades of access.
And it's an oral history format. That seems like a smart way to handle a band with such, let's say, conflicting narratives.
Definitely. It lets the story unfold through their own words and the words of people around them. It makes it accessible, but you also asked if it clarifies the big feuds.
Yeah. Does it? Or just rehash them?
No, I think it absolutely clarifies the friction, because you get these direct quotes right next to each other sometimes. Think about making The Wall.
Okay.
The oral history lets you hear Gilmour on the music, Waters on the concept, Mason on the sheer logistical nightmare, all in one place. It really shows the paradox. Their greatest creative moments often happen during their biggest personal splits.
So we definitely get deeper into the Waters-Gilmour dynamic, which is, well, legendary. But what's new here? What hasn't been floating around fan forums for years?
Well, the book draws on a lot of unpublished material, especially around the transition periods in the band. But I think the most raw and essential new detail involves Syd Barrett.
Their founder.
Right?
And specifically, an interview with Syd's sister, Rosemary Bream.
Ah, okay. What did she share?
Well, fans usually see Syd's story through the band's eyes, you know? The heartbreak and songs like Shine on You, Crazy Diamond.
Of course.
But this book gives a completely different view, the family perspective. Rosemary Bream is quoted lamenting that her brother, Roger, his real name, quote, should have never become a musician.
Oh, wow. That's heavy. Should have never become a musician.
It's incredibly sad and really important. It reframes the whole tragedy, moves it away from just the band's creative loss, and focuses on the family's personal grief, the human cost.
Yeah.
It shifts the narrative from Syd, the rock god who burned out, to the immense pressure on an individual struggling with mental health. Blake uses that 30 years of access to tell a story that honors the music's complexity, but doesn't ignore the human pole of it all.
It makes it the essential document for understanding Pink Floyd then. Not just the music, but the dynamics, the mythology from all sides. Exactly. The creative process and the internal struggles all laid out.
What a trio of books. This is a perfect example of how, diving into these sources can totally shift how you see music history. We went from Dolly defining her brand through performance.
Cameron Crowe defining an era by earning trust.
To Pink Floyd documenting that sort of chaotic, brilliant group dynamic.
And hopefully you listening get the key insights without needing to wade through thousands of pages yourself.
Well, thanks for joining us today. And if you want to take a look at any of these books, visit us at essentialbookdrop.com and you'll have all the links right there. Cass will do it again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Happy reading, everyone.
Until then, keep on opening new worlds with great new books. And whatever you do, remember this: when you read,
your mind becomes its own kingdom.